So if you guys haven't noticed by now, I usually record a bunch of these like in one session, but I actually do change shirts in between each recording video. Just throwing that out there in case you guys didn't notice that. But you guys are smart cookies. I think you know deep down inside. Today's topic comes from Greg MC Awesome _1 on PSN. Thanks, buddy. Good discussion that you've brought to the table here. He says, "Dear Ryan, hey Ryan, your channel is the biz, and I always watch your videos because they're the best, and you ask for new topics for your Ryan on Gaming, so here's one. It's not really about gaming per se, but I was thinking maybe you can do a Ryan on Gaming on how video games affected you in particular when you got into games and how they became such a big part of your life. Keep up the great work on your videos. You are rad." He yells rad at me. Now, Greg MC, let me tell you right off the bat. You say it's not really about video games, but then you say it's about video games. So, it's about video games, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Sweet topic, man. Sweet topic. It's a personal topic, really, because it's like, man, how did gaming started for you? You know, how is it like a big part of your life and everything? And I think it's kind of like it happens differently for all sorts of people. And at the same time, I feel like all of us are it's like also kind of the same for a lot of people. I mean, my earliest experience ever like playing a video game, as far back as I can remember, is my uncles were playing PlayStation and they were playing Crazy Taxi, and I was watching them play, and I was just like, this looks like really fun. Like, I want to play. I don't even fucking remember how old I was. I was pretty young. And then at that point, I got my own PlayStation, I got into games, and then I got so interested in games, I was like, I don't know, I asked my mom or somebody, I was like, is there more, like, games that I can buy? And they were like, yeah, there's, like, more PlayStation games, and I was like, is there, like, more? And then they're like, oh, well, there's, like, the Nintendo 64, and there's, like, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and all that. And then I started to actually go backwards before I went forwards, so I was buying old hardware and playing that stuff, and then it just kind of moved on for me, and PlayStation was my first system. So, like, you know, I always maybe as a kid, I'm pretty sure I was pretty biased back then, but yeah, so PlayStation was my first system. Bought a bunch of old Nintendo stuff. Really enjoyed that. PlayStation 2 I bought, and was really into that. You know, Xbox came along, everything, and I just kind of went with the flow and everything. So I don't know, like, there's no like huge stories in that regard. I mean, it was just kind of a natural progression for me. I mean, a couple big moments in my life in terms of like video games is that, like, I used to skate a lot when I was a kid. I was like a skater kid. And when I was a kid, like, I didn't fucking make any money. So it's like I either like had money to either like buy skateboarding stuff or buy PlayStation games, and I basically had to make a choice at one point. I was like, listen, I can buy a bunch of new PlayStation games, or I can get a new skateboard, maybe a ramp or something. So basically, when I was like super young, I like had to pick which hobby I wanted, and I chose video games, basically. So I kind of like stopped skating because I couldn't really afford to do it anymore. I came from like kind of a low income household, so you know, my mom and like couldn't really afford all this, you know, awesome both of this stuff for me. So I chose games. I stuck with games. I felt like that was a pretty good choice. So I stuck with games. Bought a lot of games. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's other like, yeah. I mean, there's pretty much that's. I don't know, I'm trying to think of like other stories. I mean, key moments. I mean, the thing about games for me is that some of the better moments for me with games, and in terms of like a more personal thing, is like games have helped me gotten through like tough times, which I'm sure like is a lot of people have been there, where you've got some sort of maybe like rough period in your life, and really just sitting down, kind of locking yourself in your room and playing some game and just kind of like getting lost in it is what really like does it for you. And I've been there. Like, that totally happens for me all the time. Happened to me as recently as last year. Last year I was having some like girl troubles. This was around the time that the Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster came out on PlayStation 3. And, you know, we all know that we can spend upwards to 200 plus hours on both of those games. So I was getting over some girl troubles, and I was just like, fuck it. Like, Final Fantasy's coming out soon. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's, I wish I could get my, everyone knows I wear the Tidus necklace. I have a Final Fantasy X-2 Yuna statue. I fucking love Final Fantasy X and X-2. So that remaster was coming out, and I was just like, screw it, I'm buying this thing. I'm just gonna play it in my room, and like I'll go to work, do what I have to do, come home and just play this game and just sink the next 2 months into that game. And that's exactly what I did, and my god, it was like the best thing ever. Like, it was totally like an awesome thing. It kept my mind off everything. I was lost in Spira. And you know, with at least with me in Final Fantasy, like well, Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, we all know it's like it's a pretty big love story. So like I was like totally into that, and it kind of, even though it was like related to what I was going through, it kept my mind off it, and I just got lost in somebody else's love story instead of my own, and that was totally cool. You know, that stuff like that happens with me a lot. Like there's like family deaths where it was like, you know, you get bummed out, and family deaths are never easy, so playing certain games always helped me through that. What else? Other things are like, you know, games teach me a lot. Like I tell people this all the time, like, I don't watch movies, I don't fucking read books, I play games. That is the #1 medium I invest most of my time into. So there's been plenty of times where I had like school assignments and stuff, and games helped me out with that. I remember one time in English, jeez, I keep burping because I'm drinking Coke. Sorry, I'm keeping that in. I had an English assignment in high school, and it was about Greek mythology, and I was like, dude, fucking God of War, man. Now, granted, God of War is pretty fake in terms of the Kratos part, but most of the other lore is pretty much true in terms of like the gods and everything. And the thing is, I had done all this research before I ever even had this assignment in English. I got, like, when I played the God of War games, I thought Greek mythology was so cool from playing those games, and then I looked it up and researched it on my own damn time. So by the time I was in high school and I had this assignment for God of War, I knew everything, and I literally didn't have to do any fucking studying at all. Like, she just gave us the assignment, and she gave us, like, 2-3 weeks for this shit. I knocked it out in one night 2 weeks beforehand, and then I had all this time to play games. I felt so powerful about that, and that's like the biggest example. But there's been other times where, you know, there's just sort of like one-off situations where one game had one little small moment that I remembered that I could easily apply to in a certain English assignment or something. It was usually English. I can't really apply math or anything from video games or I don't know. Social studies, that's another one. Like, if you're playing historical games, there were a couple of moments there where games helped me out. So, yeah, games have always impacted my life in, like, pretty much any way you can think of. Whether it was helping me through a difficult time, just increasing my general knowledge of, like, life and everything, because, again, that helped me through school. And, yeah, I used to, like, skate, and I chose video games, and I don't regret that decision whatsoever. I wish I you know, nowadays, I'm an adult, and I have plenty of money to go buy a skateboard again, but I'd probably bust my ass plenty of times trying to skateboard again. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's more things I could say, but I really can't remember them right now. Whenever I record these videos, they're literally right off the top of my head. This is how I would be if you and me were just talking in a casual conversation. I don't put much forethought into these videos. I just do them. So, but awesome topic, dude. Thank you very much for submitting that. And the great thing about this thing is that you guys better damn well write some interesting shit in the comments. I just poured my soul out to you motherfuckers. You better do the same for me. So by all means, write paragraph-long comments in the comment section below, and I will be talking to you guys like you wouldn't believe. It's like I'm standing right next to you, bedside, because you're probably watching this in your bed on your phone or something, and then you're like typing your story, and then you hit submit, and then picture me right next to your bed, and I'm like kind of leaning over, like trying to read what you're typing, but then you're like doing one of these where you're like let me finish, you know, and then you hit send, and then you're just like and then you know, I'm like, can I read it now? And they're like, yeah, but you have to check it on your phone. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, that about does it for this video, and I'll see you all in the next video that I do, whether it's a Let's Play or LTPS or Ride on Gaming. Thank you.